to know that someone could get in the greatest player in the world's head of the time, I think says a lot about how strong you have to be mentally to live for one in life and for golf in another way.
But I believe the great is still yet to come. I won't stop fighting, man, until I'm done.
It looks like everybody we've coached made the team, which that's a great feeling. So shout out to all our kids that made the team, which is wonderful. So in the process, I'll just call him Michael A, because I don't know. I just tapped the microphone. Sorry about that. Michael A. We'll use full names to protect the innocent, but he plays for a very good high school team, private school, and last year he was on the cusp of making the starting lineup. Didn't quite make it, but he played some matches here and there. So he's been working on it. He comes out first day of tryouts, shoots even par, right? Let's go. Okay, now you got the coach's attention, all happy about it, and Michael was just thrilled, and as was I, because I teach him. He comes in, and I guess for the next lesson I see him, he's again very excited, doing well. But one of the players that he played against, Michael made when you make a 4 or 5 shot improvement from year to year, the player was like, well, there's no way he's really doing that. He must be cheating. And I actually took that as a positive. And he's, of course, got to know me, I'm crazy. Hey, why is that a positive? Well, to me, that means you just got into someone else's head, right? Yeah. And I always say in golf, and this is, I believe this 1,000%. You've arrived at the highest level of golf when you are completely target aware and not self-aware. If you're still focusing on mechanics or what someone else does, or like Nicholas said, Nicholas doesn't play golf against other people. He plays golf against a golf course designer, right? Not worried about what other people are doing. And I think that is great advice. So anyway, I'm gonna bring this quote to Michael when I see him, but it's you spend most of your life in your own head. Might as well make that a nice place to be, right? So, I love that, right?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, because the second you start, again, another really good friend of mine. God, she thinks things. Actually, I got a lot of friends that overthink, but they actually, she has a sign that says, "Give me a minute to overthink this."
Yeah.
Yeah. Not good. Again, we're the Ready, Fire, Aim group, right? So we see, we do, and that's how we move forward. Anyway, shout out to JoJo. JoJo, because I'm sure he'll be watching. She's one of our
Bear.
Yeah, JoJo the Dancing Bear. He's one of our editors, and I always call him JoJo the Dancing Bear. I give everybody a nickname just so you know, as obviously as I'm doing here. JoJo sent me a quote last night, which because I do a lot of shorts on Friday mornings, and he sent me a quote, so I wanted to give him recognition for it. It's from Boston Scott, the Giant Killer, who. Honestly, from New York, I've got Chinese season tickets, so to read these Eagle quotes kills me. But I love the quotes, so here we go. Stop comparing yourself. The battle is between you and you. Which, that's where the battle lies. That's the Confucius quote that we did, mastering yourself. That's where it's at. If you want to get to the next level of championship golf. Or life, for that matter, because we are, golf pros, but we're also life coaches.
It's
mentality coaches.
Fatality?
Mentality.
Oh, mentality.
Not mentality.
We haven't had someone off themselves yet. But, we're going to call David the Dr. Kevorkian of golf instructors. People are just dying to see him. Okay. Wow. Okay. So anyway, I'm going to tell one story first about mental fortitude on a golf course or lack thereof, and then I'm going to turn it over to these two guys. But I forget. I read it. I'm thinking of a Bob Rotella book. It's like 1930 something. Paul Runyon was playing against Sam Snead in the PGA Championship. And the PGA Championship at that point was match play. And for those of you who don't know what match play is, stroke play is if David shot 71, Richie shot 70, and I shot 72, Richie wins because he has the lowest number.
Naturally.
What's that?
What?
Naturally.
Yeah.
I shot 64. Okay, anyway.
Front nine or back nine?
Yeah,
No, I'm kidding.
yeah. Okay, the podcast is ending right now. folks.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I know. All right. So anyway, with that said, match play is if I got a 5 in a hole, David got a 5 in a hole. I'm sorry, Dave got a 4 on a hole, and Richie got an 11 on the hole. David would win that hole. Hey, Beck's a bitch. Yes, David would win the hole, so he'd be 1 hole up. That's how match play works. So anyway, Paul Runyon was a slight guy, not very big. Didn't hit the ball all that far, and he's playing against Sam Snead, slamming Sammy Snead, who was the best player of his era, and it was match play. So I always tell people, like they say that Snead hit the ball almost 70 yards further off the tee than Runyon did. So can you imagine you're sitting in a fairway and the guy in front of you is like 70 yards ahead of you, and like, wow, like that would seem to be almost insurmountable. Just so you know, Runyon, I believe, is still in the Guinness Book of World Records for shooting under his age the most amount of times. The guy was a short game, like regarded, actually, if you read about him, regarded as the greatest short game player that ever lived. So I always said, well, who do you think won? Everyone's like, well, naturally, you say Snead because he hit the ball, he's the best player, and yada yada. No, Runyon beat Snead, and as the story goes, it took him 10 holes to do it, meaning he won every one of the holes. So at that point, like, how the flip did that happen, right? So as the story goes, Runyon either pitched in, chipped in, or one-putted on every hole, which is crazy. Mm-hmm. So apparently after he did it a few times, Snead started to get upset, like, lucky this, lucky that. And then, like, after it happened several times, Snead apparently got visibly upset. The way the story was relayed to me, like, it really got into his head that this guy who hit the ball nowhere just kept knocking the ball in the hole, knocking the ball, knocking the ball. So at that point, Snead, best player of that era, is completely spooked by this little guy who keeps knocking the ball in the hole. So I had the pleasure in, let's say, 1989, 90, to be at the PGA National, somewhere in there anyway. Would have been earlier than that. But guess who ended up being one of my instructors for the week? Paul Runyon.
Wow.
Yeah, it was cool. Yeah. So Runyon was a very traditional, matter-of-fact kind of guy. And I think the people in the group were a little bit intimidated because he's a legend, right? Mm. So I asked, I said, Mr. Runyon, I'm like, how did you get so good at the short game? And Runyon said, well, I used to hit golf balls for 1 or 2 hours a day after work. And we're all like, oh, yeah, that's how you do it. That's how it is. He goes, no. He goes, then I chip and putt for another 4. I'm okay. That's,
wow.
To have that kind of free time is great. Yeah. But, yeah. But that's... So anyway.
I could do that if Bob didn't make me work all
I
the
know,
time.
right? Get back to work. Anyway, with that said, yeah, to know that someone could get in the greatest player in the world's head of the time, I think says a lot about, how strong you have to be mentally to live, for one, in life, and for golf in another way.
Glass of bourbon, ha. My bourbon, ha. My bourbon, ha. Alcohol. Because no great story ever started with, I'll have a salad.